Hi, my name is Ronald King. I modeled the Erie Railroad in 1953 in October. The reason I model October is because I went to Pennsylvania in October for years, and when I came home I thought it would be a great color scheme. I modeled the Erie Railroad. I don't model prototype scenes. I have all the railroad names. The towns are real Erie names. I like doing power, so you see a lot of power on my layout. I interchange with the Pennsylvania, the Susquehanna. I have a section for the Susquehanna on my layout. How that started. Erie, I bought two RS1s and found out the Erie didn't own them, so I put them into Susquehanna, and that's how that ended up on my layout. The railroad is 215 feet mainline with sidings. It's basically a rounder basement layout. A lot of the structures on it are scratch built. I enjoy doing that. Not as much now as I did when I was younger, but I still enjoy doing engines. You'll see a lot of different stuff on here. And I enjoy running with my friends. When I'm by myself, I hardly ever run it, which is kind of terrible. So anyway, I try to model between Hornell and Marion, Ohio. My main yard, which you'll see, is Meadville, and that's in the middle of both of the towns. And I hope you enjoy the tour, and I hope you enjoy the convention. The section you're seeing right here, this is the interchange with my branch line, which is the Allegheny and Eastern Railroad. The Erie interchanges with the Allegheny and Eastern right here, which is BK Tower. On the real BK Tower is just outside Meadville Yard. And you'll see Erie TOFC train going by. This is Akron, Ohio. The TOFC train is something that's basically out of my time period, but I love it, so I do it anyway. This is my main passenger yard right here in Akron. What you see right now is my main yard, Meadville. This is my main engine facility. You can tell I like diesels and steam. More diesels than steam. Diesels run a lot better, that's why I have more of those than steam. All the engines on here are all prototype numbers, prototype paint jobs. The diesel facility is something that I wanted a lot of diesel, so I made it a little bit bigger and sacrificed a little bit of my yard just for the engine facility. The roundhouse you see over there, that's a model masterpieces roundhouse. It's all made out of like dental plaster. The turntable is a diamond scale turntable. The mechanism to make it work is a New York railway supply. It's made with a stepper motor, so you can just punch in the numbers and the motor goes by count. The diesel shop you see over here to the left, that's all scratch built. I built that when I didn't even have a layout. I built it sitting on a bed. It's all cardboard. It's all covered with Holgate and Reynolds brick. The windows are all Grant Line double hung O-gauge windows. So if you have to build something like that, go look at O-gauge. It's great for windows also if you need big windows. Doesn't all work. It's an optimized detector signal system developed by Bruce Chubb back in the 70s. It's a split yard. The yard is split in two by the road right here. So this section over here is an individual yard from this one. So I take the trains from that side, bring them over here, and I sort them out and put them on these tracks right here, and this is where the trains build up. I have no hand throws on my layout. They're all powered switches. This is my caboose track right here. These are basically my build-up tracks right here. I built the light towers. Those are all made out of Central Valley bridge parts.
Oh yeah.
I built the lights out of brass tubing. They're all LEDs. Everybody has small ones. I want a little taller one, so I just made them up like that. All the buildings you see in the distance, the grain elevator, the bakery. The grain elevator is all cardboard. I probably made it about 40 years ago. Cut it out on a radio arm saw, a 10-inch radio arm saw, because I wanted 45s on the building. So my friends all told me I was crazy, but I did it anyway. The bakery, R.P. Russell Bakery, I took that out of the phone book for Detroit. Since then they went out of business. You can stand over here. What you see right there, that's the Plymouth Freight House in Plymouth, Michigan. I went there probably about 20 years ago and measured it all up, come home and built it all, and then about a month or two later a company called TK brought it out in HO. And I found out it was really wrong because they used the wrong windows and everything. The gantry you see beside it, that's an SS Limited wooden gantry. A friend of mine built that for me. He's a pilot for Spirit, and he always wanted something to do, so I give it to him, and he said he'd never build another one because it has a lot of nut and bolt castings on it. The freight house to the right, that's on my layout, that's the Erie Freight House. That's a fine scale model. And the interlocking tower is an AHM interlocking tower. And then the little gantry is an Alexander gantry. What you see right here, this is my main coach yard. It's not very big, but it's all the room I had for it. A friend of mine named Jim Woodward worked for Pullman back in the 40s, and he told me how to do it. What you see right there, these are all made out of the Revell buildings. I think there's 11 buildings in that one building right there, because on Revell you only get one wall with 3 windows in it. So for every 3 windows you see, that's a whole kit. The windows, I made a mold, because I'm a retired tool and die maker. I made a mold to make the windows, because I wanted to have open windows. Revell don't have that. Plus I wanted to be able to color the windows any color I wanted. Right next to it, the storage building, that's a Revell building with the Revell windows in it. The mullions are painted, so you're restricted to so many colors. And that was why I made the mold. How I made the mold, I went in between Christmas and New Year's at work and built the mold. And then I had to have an EDM machine, which is a machine that burns metal with like carbon. So I went ahead and had to have some of that done. So my boss went golfing one day, so I had the guy do it for me, and the boss come back from golfing and found out the guy was working on my job, and he was kind of went off a little bit ballistic, you might say. But he was nice enough, knowing that I model trained, he let the guy finish the job, so that was how I got those. This building right here, this is the Magasin Burnout Warehouse and Brewery put together. I wanted a boarding factory, so this is what it ended up with. I painted and lettered all the boarding trucks you see right here. I made the sign, which is a bar mill sign. So I just had to add a little bit right in here to get the sign up higher. This sign here is all brass. I soldered it all together. It's a little heavy, but it don't move when I set it down. Only bad part about Magasin buildings, you have to put all the mullions in it, which takes a long time. And this is an SS Limited fire escape, which is brass, which is basically wrong because There's no way for people to walk around the ladder. A lot of people laugh. What you see here, this is the town of Meadville. This building right here was built by Dr. Fleming up in Lansing. A friend of mine got it from him when he went to Ogage. And he come over one day, a guy named Stephen Akers, and he said, hey, I have this building, if you want it, I'll bring it over and you can have it. Well, once I saw the building, I thought, well, I'll make a spot for it, so this is where it ended up. This here is a design preservation kitbash building. I built it as a house, but then found out I really didn't need a house, so I made a general store out of it. The fence is made out of brass, and I used bridal veil screen to make the cyclone fence. It's cheap, it's plastic, and you can glue it. Look at the phone coming in. The buildings you see right here, these are Magasin buildings. This is the apartment buildings here. This is a Magasin fire station. This all lifts off because I have switches underneath it. This is the town of Corning on my layout. Corning didn't have any tugboats on it, but I wanted them really bad, so I went ahead and put them in anyway. Goes back to that modeler's license. This is a Lindbergh tug right here. I just detailed it up a little bit. Put the grabs around it, put the tires on it, made the navigational lights and everything. Built the mast, which was probably the hardest part on it. The boats you see right here, them were built from a friend of mine. This was all scratch built through here. This is the model of the Erie tugboat, the Marion. It was built in 1953, the prototype. It's as accurate as I can get it. I scratch built all the handrails, all the lights, and all the navigational sights you see on it. Totally interior, it's all lit up. You want to know what it looked like? Here's a picture of the real one.
Oh yeah.
Don't seem like much, but it probably took me 100 hours to build that boat. It started out as a Walther's tugboat. The oil platform is all scratch built. Each one of these little racks you see right there, there's probably 11 pieces in each one of those. They're all pinned so they don't fall apart. I seen a picture in a railroad book that shows one little section of it, and off the one little section I built the whole thing. What you see here, this is basically the town of Corning. What you're looking at here, this is the town of Avon. This is where the Susquehanna lives, you might say. The two RS1s you see right there is what I was talking about that I bought way back from Elko Models and found out the Erie didn't own any, so I didn't know what to do with them, and there they are. Since then it's kind of grown a little bit. The house is in the background. I kind of cheat a little bit. The one on the top, the biggest one, that's a Keebry building, and I just built the sun porch on it. So I figured they're the rich people. The one next to it is the Meadville house. The one next to that, I figured, you know, people get poor as they go downhill. And that's a Dink building, which at the time it only cost like 69 cents. So we just put a porch on it and everything, dress it up a little bit. The two buildings at the top of the hill, those are both design preservation buildings. And this is, the engine house is another Revell building with my windows in it. The DNR Coal Company right here, this is the oldest building on my layout. I built that when I was in high school, which is back in the 50s. The fence was all done board by board. I did it in one night. Everybody says, oh, you were crazy, but when you build it like a wooden airplane, they actually go really fast because I pre-stained all the wood and everything. This is another Revell building kit that I kit bashed. Me and my friend Ken Olson, which is the one that got me doing this scenery. I've known him forever. We started doing this layout and this scene, what you see now, in 1981. So me and him both built this building. He built one and I built the other one. And this is what gave it away, is all the Swift trucks. This is the main function for the Susquehanna engine, to switch this out. Everybody always asks how I get to that section back there. I'll show you in a minute. That section where the cattle pit is, that all lifts up. That's a model of the Avon station in Avon, New York. I scratch built that. I went all the way out to New York to measure it all up. I get back home and 2 months later, Model Railroad runs an article on all the drawings. But I had a nice trip anyway. Meat packing plant. Want me to start over?
Yeah.
Okay. The barn you see right there, originally how that worked out, at one time this was all a big farm. And the farmer sold the property to the Swift meatpacking plant, but the deal was he had to keep the barn for his equipment. Since then the farmer died, so the barn just sits there falling apart.
Yeah.
Put it down and just push it around. What you're seeing right here, this is the top of the grade. This is Brockway on my layout. The airplane you see up there, that's a model of Zantop back in the 50s. my two buddies that fly for Spirit now, they both worked for Zantop back in the 60s and 70s, and when Zantop went out of business, I told him I wanted an airplane, so he built and painted it up for me. Well, I hope you enjoyed the tour of my layout. I hope you enjoyed the convention. If you're watching this, I know you did. So we'll see you in October at the NCR convention.